Okay, guys, above average here with my 16th place regional Kashtira deck profile. I went 7-2. My losses were to Pure Lament, which in game three he uh, he milled like five effects. Like he used the Gito and like through a Gito he hit the other like Miller and like four other effects. Like he went crazy. He got really lucky. But I lost fair and square. I couldn't really do anything about it. That was one of my losses. And then I was still in it until the last round, which I lost to a friend of mine that we go to the same locals. He was playing Despia, kind of like Pure. Um, and yeah, I misplayed. I feel like, I feel like my deck always has the tools to win, but I managed to misplay. Um, to be honest, I've never played Kashtira before. I've played it like when we had a Rise Heart. I didn't play the deck. I didn't play the deck at all. Actually, I only started playing the deck after Rise Heart got banned and everyone dropped the deck. So realistically, I only have like 2 to 3 tournaments experience with this deck. So I think now I'm starting to really understand what to do, what combos to do, certain niche like things you could do with the deck that I never knew before. Uh, and I'm really looking forward to my next event. Actually, I think it's going to be really good. And I have a two lists I'm going to show you today. So I'm going to show you my 16th place regional deck profile, my thoughts behind it. As you're going to see, it's a little weird. Um, I made a bold, some bold statements in the deck, and then I'm going to show you my final Kashtira list, which is the one that I'm playing right now, which I also consider probably the best Kashtira list out there. It's basically my YCS deck list, and then the changes I would make and the reasonings for that for those changes. So for my 16th place, 7-2 regional deck profile, I just went there for the deck box pretty much. I wanted top four, but it's okay. We'll see the next event. So I played three Fenrir, three Rise Heart, two Unicorn, the one Scareclaw, and then the one Ogre. No changes here. I kept it the same as my YCS deck list. Obviously, three Shifter, three Ash. I bumped up to two Mourner, just because Mourner was really good for me at the YCS. Since I played a lot of Rescue Ace, and it was just in general like really good. So I kind of wanted to bump it up, and with the theory that I implemented in this deck for this event, I wanted to play more hand traps. So I'll explain that once I get later into the deck profile. And then obviously three field spell, three birth, three theosis, three prosperity. You can't change that. And then three offerings of the doom. So I'm just gonna spend a little time talking about this. So as you know, people used to play Book of Moon, right? Book of Eclipse and stuff like that. So like if you spur summon Unicorn or Fenrir and then they try to imperm you or whatever, you could book your own monster, right? So Offerings of the Doom kind of does the same thing, right? It protects you from imperms and veilers and targeting effects, but as well as clearing your board. So that's even better actually than Book of Moon, right? In those scenarios. Going second, this is a phenomenal card. Like it usually trades one for one. Um, so that's pretty good. So most of the times Book of Moon, right, trades for one. And also setting this card, like let's say they don't hand trap you and you're able to save it, setting it is actually a very powerful interaction. Like destroying their card is insane. Like this card literally reads destroy a monster in the field. Like that's crazy, right? And the fact that you skip your next draw phase, I want to emphasize that that doesn't matter. Like it actually doesn't matter. And this card was phenomenal for me. To be honest, like I would test this card more, and it was really good. Like whether I was going first or second, like I always wanted this card in my deck, especially going second. But it was a very safe card in the main deck. Protecting myself from targeting effects, um, etc. There's also certain interaction where you could try to pop your Shinger Era and protect it through its own effect, and then you get to detach one of your cards, and sometimes you need that. Sometimes your materials get stuck on the Shinra Hero, and it gets a little weird. So that doesn't come up that often, but yeah, this card was very good. And the skipping the draw phase, keep that in mind with the card that I'm going to talk about, my side deck, right? So three prosperity, obviously I talked about that. Terraforming, Duster, Monster Reborn. These cards are staples for me. I would never play this deck without these cards. I think Duster is just broken. And Monster Reborn, I talked about it in my YCS deck profile, which is very good in this deck. Like, even though you think it's not, it's phenomenal. Like, if your opponent hand traps you, if you hand trap them in the mid game, late game, this card's a bomb. It's absolutely insane. Through Imperm, nothing to say there. And preparations, uh, with Ogre, one of my favorite cards in my deck. Favorite cards in this deck. So now going into the side deck, I decided to play way more hand traps than my YCS deck profile. And my YCS profile, I played thrust into talents and stuff like that. So with this theory, I know hand traps are good. I was making the call that hand traps are going to be good, and I made the right call. I mean, like, there was a lot of combo decks like everywhere. Um, a lot of Infernoble for sure, Vanadium. So I wanted to play a lot of hand traps in the side, and my theory was I was going to side in. So when I'm going second, I'm going to have a lot of hand traps, right? I'm going to have these in the main, which are very good, and then I'm going to add more depending on the matchup, whatever it is. Um, against Rescue Ace, I'll have 3 Mourner. I'll have Veilers, Imperms, Shifter, Ash. Like, that's insane, right? And then going first, it's basically the same exact theory. So I'm still going to play hand traps, but I'm going to also side in, before I played Judgment, right? Judgment and Anti-Spell to kind of counter what I was losing to, which was thrust talents evenly. So this theory was that if I was going first, I was going to set Reckless Greeds and side it into more hand traps. So therefore, even if they do have the thrust evenly, whatever, I'm going to still have a lot of hand traps to counter their strategy, right? So even if they do evenly me or thrust into talents, into Zeus or whatever, I'm still going to have a lot of hand traps to lower their ceiling and then still able to win in the crackback. This card skips your next 2 draw phases. Again, don't even pay attention to that. It actually doesn't matter. Um, I like how it works together with Offerings of the Doom. They kind of stack, so you get a free Offerings of the Doom technically. But again, the strategy with this deck, you're setting up Birth, Preparations, Fenrir, Unicorn, Ogre. Like, if these cards, like, I get again with Stringer Era, if these cards stick on the board for more than their turn, you should win. It doesn't matter what you draw. Each one of those cards gets into another card, which gets into another card. It's insane. So playing those hand traps kind of stops your opponent from breaking your board too, right? If they don't have those board breaker cards. So that was the theory. Um, in actuality, like in practicality, like when I was playing, it was good. Like, it wasn't bad. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say it was bad. But the problem was playing like 3 Mourner and the Veilers and the Bells and the Nibs. I realized that I was drawing redundant hands, like, often. Like, I was drawing double Ash or like double Mourner, or like I would draw phase, and I would draw into a hand trap, and then like that would do it's one less card I'm playing with, and I really didn't like that. Even though I lowered my opponent's ceiling, everyone's still playing hand traps, right? So even though I lowered their ceiling, like, I would have a 1 card play. I would just have like Planet into Unicorn into whatever into Theosis, right? And then that would get stopped, and then I would sit on a hand trap. And that wasn't that good for me. So uh, basically, what I'm saying is this theory didn't allow me to play the theory of one-ofs, and I want to play the theory of one-ofs because that never happens to you when you're playing the theory of one-ofs. There's no chance of you drawing, like, since you're not going to play 3 Mourner, and you're never going to see like 2 Mourner in your hand, right? Maybe you'll see 2 Ash, but that's not horrible, right? Because Ash is very easily used, and maybe even during your turn. But yeah, in theory, it was good. It was a good idea. Would I play it again? Probably not. Even though my loss in the last round, it was to my misplay. I should have went 8-1. I attacked a Titanic Clad that was boosted, and I forgot about it. That was really stupid of me, causing me to lose in time. But I would test it again. But let's say if there was like nationals tomorrow, I probably wouldn't take this list. Just because siding was really weird for me. I realized that, like, I didn't really think of my side deck patterns that much, and it was very hard siding in like a lot of hand traps, as well as keeping it engine. So now let me get into my final cash list. And this is basically, if there was a nationals tomorrow, this is what I would take. So still same monster lineup, but I included the Tier Elements Kashtira. So I've been testing this card heavily. And normally I was playing 2 Scareclaw, just because the effect to quick effect banish to summon is insane. Like that is probably like one of the best things this deck can do, because it lets you play around what you lose to, like I've been saying. Because getting fuel for your preparations lets you play through evenly. It lets you not lose during their turn, like when they try to like attack for game or whatever. It lets you put another monster on the board. Um, but I got this from another deck profile. Tournament's Kashtira could help slightly bump up the consistency. So like if you draw Birth and Tournament's Kashtira, you could like mill three, and potentially milling any name like can get you there, right? If you mill Fenrir, um, Rice Hard, whatever, it lets you make a play. So this kind of like bumps up consistency a little bit. It also has the neat interaction with Ogre, right? If you attack with Ogre and you look at the top five cards, you could banish one. And then like if you also use Tearlaman's Kashtira, you could mill the top three of their deck. So you could like really control what card they're gonna draw. And that's gonna come up like maybe once or twice a tournament, but that's gonna win you the game. So yeah, I for sure want to play uh, like two of these cards that banish from the graveyard to summon. And I realized in the mid game it comes up a lot. Like you want to banish your Theosis to add back and like get back into the game. Those are the cards that let you like grind like crazy. So I think this is an excellent addition to the deck. It's been very good for me. Hand trap stayed the same. Obviously the spells stayed the same. Droplets, it's the card that was a little overperforming for me, so I wanted to bump it up to two. I want to see this card pretty much all the time, like going second, chaining to your monster effect. You could like bait a negate and then like get rid of your Fenrir and then bait another card and then special summon a Fenrir. You could do so much with this card going second. It breaks almost every board. So even against Rescue Ace, this card is very good. Even though you think it might not be, they're going to use their contain or their extinguish, and you could chain it to that. Very good. Another addition is called by, just because Labyrinth could be a weird matchup, and it's what I lost to in the YCS. This card is good against Labyrinth going first or second. Good against Tier Limits going first or second. Good against Vanadium going first. It's just very very versatile, and sometimes them like ashing your Theosis or whatever could kind of stop your turn. So I think this is an excellent addition to the deck, and a very good one of the rest of the deck stays the same. Uh, three spooky. I mean, I always try to play this card if I can. Two Bell, just to cover Labyrinth. There's a lot of Labyrinth in like every event that I play for some reason. As well as it has some neat applications against other decks. Um, Lava Golem. This card is insane. I would definitely like try to bump this up to two, but I don't know what I would take out. Maybe I would take out one Bell, or I don't know, but it's a very solid one of. If I see it, it's good. If I don't, it's fine. The second Mourner, just because it's really good against Rescue Ace, and there's a lot of Rescue Ace everywhere. The Thrust with the Evenly going second, I love that. The fact that I could also get to Duster, Monster Reborn, mostly Monster Reborn. It could help boost up consistency going second, as well as be very versatile. This is an extra going first card. I talked about it in my YCS deck profile, and then these cards that overperform the Judgment and the anti spell. So hopefully you like my lists. Let me know if you have any ideas. I mean, I'm really open. Like I want to hear what people have to say, what people have been testing. But these are the two lists that I've been testing heavily. Um, this is definitely what I would take if there was nationals tomorrow or YCS tomorrow. This is exactly what I would take. Um, Extra deck is pretty much, I think, solved at this point. The only thing I would take out is maybe one Shanger Era, because I've never gone into two. Maybe take out Shanger Era for another card, but there's no other card really in that we could play right now. So yeah. Another thing I hadn't realized is that SP can banish your own Theosis from grave. That's kind of crazy, right? And I never done that before, but now that like I thought about it, I've been doing it a good amount of the time in the mid game. So that's pretty crazy. So yeah, if you guys have any ideas, or if you guys like these type of deck profiles, let me know. That's it for now.